Let me be direct with you right from the start. YouTube isn't coming for faceless channels. YouTube isn't coming for AI channels. YouTube is coming for lazy, low effort, copy-paste content that wastes everyone's time, irritates advertisers, and clogs up the platform. And if your channel falls into that category, you absolutely should be worried. But if you're willing to make the right moves, and I'm going to show you exactly what those moves are, your channel won't only survive what's happening right now, but actually thrive because of it. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand what's actually going on, why it's happening, who it's really targeting, and the exact blueprint to make sure your channel is completely bulletproof going forward. Alright, let's set the scene. Over the past several months, there has been a surge of panic in the faceless YouTube community. People losing monetization, getting rejected from the YouTube Partner Program, channels getting flagged, some even deleted. Comments are flooding in, DMs are stacking up, and the narrative spreading like wildfire is that YouTube is just ending faceless and AI channels entirely. And I get why people believe that. When you see your income disappear or your channel get hit out of nowhere, your first instinct is to feel like the platform turned on you. But here's the thing. The story is actually way more nuanced than that, and understanding it correctly is the difference between panicking and making smart decisions. So let's start with what's actually happening behind the scenes at YouTube. Here's a fact that very few people in this conversation are talking about. YouTube and Google are among the biggest investors in artificial intelligence technology on the entire planet. They've got proprietary AI video generation tools, AI image generators, and they're actively building AI creation tools directly into YouTube Studio for creators to use. The YouTube CEO has gone on record in internal communications and public interviews saying that the company is going all in on AI. So ask yourself this question. Why would a company that's investing billions into AI technology suddenly declare war on AI content creators? The answer is they're not. What they're doing is something much more specific, and understanding this distinction is absolutely critical. What YouTube is cracking down on isn't AI use. It's a very particular type of AI use that floods the platform with content nobody asked for, content that doesn't add any value, and content that puts their advertiser relationships at risk. And this brings us to what I want to call the real villain in this story, which is lazy, templated, mass-produced content. Let me break down exactly what that looks like, because YouTube has been pretty clear about the categories of content that violate their inauthentic content policies. First, there's content that appears to be made with a template and shows minimal variation across videos. You've seen this. Someone discovers a format that gets views, they automate the entire production pipeline, and suddenly they're pumping out dozens of identical looking videos where the only thing that changes is the script that gets fed into a text-to-speech engine. From a viewer experience standpoint, these videos feel hollow, they feel automated, they feel like they were made by nobody for nobody. And that's exactly how YouTube sees them too. Second, there's the image slideshow problem. A channel uploads motivational content, or prayer content, or quote, content where it's literally just a series of images fading in and out, maybe with an AI voiceover reading text that sounds completely robotic. And there's no real narrative, no commentary, no educational value being added. YouTube has specifically flagged this style as problematic because it contributes nothing original to the platform. Third, and this one tripped up someone I want to tell you about in detail in a moment, there's the issue of using other people's music or content and modifying it slightly, changing the pitch or the speed, and passing it off as original. YouTube's automated detection systems are sophisticated enough to catch this, even when you think you've disguised it well enough. Now, here's a real story that illustrates exactly how these policies can blindside someone who genuinely thought they were doing things right. A creator known as Grow with PO started a faceless African storytelling channel and put serious effort into it. We're talking original scripts written from scratch, real video editing work, and genuine storytelling content. This wasn't a lazy channel, and yet the channel got demonetized. So what happened? One single mistake. He used a piece of audio that he believed was royalty-free. When YouTube flagged the copyright claim, he disputed it, believing he was in the right. YouTube rejected the dispute, The very next day, the entire channel was demonetized. What made it particularly painful was the timing. He had a video go viral, crossing 30,000 views in less than 48 hours. Right at the moment, YouTube pulled the plug. The demonetization notice YouTube sent explained that a significant portion of the channel didn't comply with YouTube Partner Program content quality guidelines. Not just one video, multiple videos had accumulated enough issue that YouTube determined the channel as a whole failed to meet the standard. The notice specifically mentioned inauthentic content, templated appearances, minimal variation, slideshows with low narrative value, and content that reproduces existing material without sufficient original contribution. And here's the brutal kicker. He now has a 90-day waiting period before he can even reapply. 90 days of continuing to create content without earning $1 from it, while simultaneously having to clean up everything that triggered the problem in the first place. There's another dimension to this that a lot of people don't realize until it's too late, and it involves what YouTube calls the Circumvention policy. Here's how it works. If your channel gets demonetized and you try to sidestep that by opening a brand new channel and monetizing that one instead, YouTube will often catch this and reject the new channel too. Why? Because when you set up an AdSense account, you submit personal and banking details. YouTube's automated systems can link accounts back to the same individual. If your first channel was flagged for policy violations and YouTube sees what appears to be the same person attempting to monetize a second channel, they treat it as an attempt to go around their enforcement action. The right move in this situation, and this is important, is to go back to the original channel first, genuinely fix whatever caused the problem, go through the proper appeal process, get that channel restored or cleared, and then move forward with any other channels. Trying to skip that step almost always makes things worse and can damage your credibility in the appeal process if YouTube determines you weren't acting in good faith. Now I want to talk about the creator who got swept up in all of this without doing anything obviously wrong, because this is also a very real scenario. Some channels have been incorrectly flagged by YouTube's AI moderation systems. This is the uncomfortable truth. YouTube is now using artificial intelligence to moderate content at scale because the platform gets absolutely hammered by thousands of spam channels trying to game the system every single day. These spam operations inflate server costs, irritate advertisers, and make the platform worse for everyone. So YouTube built more aggressive automated enforcement. The problem is that AI isn't perfect. It sometimes catches legitimate channels in the crossfire. The good news is that creators who genuinely weren't doing anything wrong and go through the proper appeal process have generally been able to get their channels reinstated. The bad news is that nobody should have to go through that stress in the first place, but it's the reality of how large platform moderation works at this scale. So where does that leave you? What do you actually do to make sure your channel is protected? Let me give you the clearest possible answer. The first and most important thing is to audit your content right now, before you hit your monetization threshold. Don't wait until YouTube flags you to figure out what's wrong. Go through your videos with the eyes of someone who has never met you, and ask honestly whether each video provides real value, real original narrative, real educational or entertainment merit. If a video is basically a slideshow with a robotic voice reading text that could have been copy-pasted from a website, that video is a liability. Either improve it or remove it. The cleanup needs to happen before you apply, not after you get rejected. Second, take music and audio rights extremely seriously. Don't assume that a track labeled as royalty-free or copyright-free is safe to use. The reference materials are full of cautionary tales about exactly this. Research music licensing properly. Use YouTube's own audio library, which provides clearer usage rights, or invest in properly licensed audio tools. One wrongly licensed audio clip can trigger a copyright strike, and if you dispute it incorrectly, you can accelerate your path to demonetization dramatically. Third, think about the long-term architecture of your channel. There's a very important concept at play in the faceless YouTube space right now that separates the channels thriving long-term from the ones that blow up briefly and then disappear completely. Channels built around easily replicable, low barrier to entry content formats tend to have very short lifespans. When a format is cheap and fast to replicate, the moment it starts getting views, Dozens or hundreds of competing channels flood in doing the exact same thing. YouTube's algorithm distributes traffic based on user satisfaction, not loyalty to the original creator. So if 7 other channels are producing the same content to the same quality standard, your audience will drift, your views will collapse, and all that work becomes worthless. Contrast that with channels that build something harder to copy. Maybe it requires a specific animation style that takes real skill to produce. Maybe it requires a consistent brand voice developed over time. Maybe it requires a creative format that involves real research and writing, rather than just prompting an AI to generate bulk scripts. These channels may grow more slowly initially, but they build something that compounds over time, that competitors struggle to steal, and that YouTube actually wants to keep on its platform, because viewers genuinely want to watch it. Fourth, build a real brand identity for your channel, even if you never show your face. This doesn't mean you need to reveal who you are. It means creating a consistent visual identity, a recognizable character or aesthetic, a voice and tone that viewers associate specifically with your channel. Faceless channels that have built genuine brand identities have proven repeatedly that they can sustain long-term audiences and survive algorithm shifts in a way that interchangeable, template-driven channels simply cannot. Fifth, think about your relationship with advertisers, because at the end of the day, this is what drives every decision YouTube makes. Ask yourself honestly whether a mainstream brand would feel comfortable placing their advertisement on your video. If the content is inflammatory, relies on disputed health claims, uses copyrighted material, or falls into any of the categories that make brands nervous, you have a problem waiting to happen. Keep your content advertiser friendly, not just because the rules say so, but because it protects your revenue stream at every level. Here's the bigger picture truth that I want you to carry with you after watching this. The channels that built their entire strategy around finding loopholes and shortcuts have always had a shorter lifespan than they planned for. This isn't new. Before AI, people were stealing and re-uploading other creators' videos, building compilation channels without permission, running reaction content without adding any value. Those channels are all gone now. The creators who took the time to build something genuinely valuable, something original, something that real viewers wanted to come back for, those creators are still here. And many of them are making more money than ever. YouTube isn't your enemy if you're building something real. YouTube is actually your best business partner if you treat it like one, because the platform has a direct financial incentive to promote content that viewers love and that advertisers want to be associated with. Your job is simply to align your channel with those interests. Make content that people genuinely want to watch. Make content that shows clear creative effort and original thinking. Respect copyright and licensing. Build something with a real identity rather than a content assembly line. Do those things, and no algorithm update, no policy change, and no wave of AI enforcement is going to threaten what you've built. The lazy channels are ending. That's actually good news if your channel isn't one of them. And if you want help building a faceless channel the right way, without guessing, without drifting into lazy, risky content, and without trying to figure all of this out alone, that's exactly what I help people do inside my community. We break down what's working, what to avoid, what to fix, and how to build something original, durable, and actually worth scaling. The link is in the description. I'll see you inside.